Ever wondered how much car insurance costs for teenagers? Well, let's dive into it. It's no secret that car insurance for teenagers is often pricier than it is for adults. But why is that the case? It's all down to one key factor: experience. Insurance companies are all about assessing risk. The more experience a driver has under their belt, the less risk they pose. Teenagers are just starting their driving journey, and as a result, they haven't had the time to build up that all-important driving experience. On average, car insurance for a teenager can be anywhere from 3 to 5 times more expensive than for an adult driver. That's quite a leap, isn't it? Let's break it down a bit more. Take a 16-year-old driver, for instance. They are new to the roads, and insurance companies view them as a high-risk category. Consequently, the average insurance cost for a 16-year-old can be quite steep. As teenagers grow older and gain more experience, their insurance costs start to decrease, albeit gradually. For example, a 17-year-old will likely pay less than a 16-year-old, and an 18-year-old less than a 17-year-old, and so on. By the time a young driver reaches 21, their insurance rates start to look a lot more like those of an adult driver. But this doesn't mean the cost suddenly becomes affordable. It's still quite a chunk of change, especially for someone just starting their adult life. Now, if we compare this to the average cost of car insurance for an adult driver, the difference is stark. Adult drivers who have years of experience tend to pay significantly less. This is because they've had the time to prove to insurers that they are less risky to insure. So it's clear that teens face higher insurance costs than more seasoned drivers. But what are the specifics? Well, we'll delve into that in the next part of our discussion. Stay tuned. Now, let's break it down by age. How does the cost of insurance change as a young driver grows older? The journey typically begins when a teenager turns 16. This is when most young folks get their first taste of freedom behind the wheel. At this age, insurance rates are at their peak. Why? Well, it's simple, really. Insurers see 16-year-olds as high-risk drivers due to their lack of experience on the road. As we move to 17-year-old drivers, the rates are still relatively high, but there is usually a slight dip compared to the previous year. This is because these drivers have had a year or so to gain some experience and prove their responsibility behind the wheel. When a driver turns 18, they're stepping into adulthood. By this age, they might have had a couple of years of driving under their belt. This experience leads to a further drop in insurance rates. However, it is important to note that these rates are still higher than for more mature drivers. For 19-year-old drivers, things start to look a bit brighter. Insurance companies begin to see these drivers as less of a risk as they gain more experience. As a result, the insurance rates take a more noticeable dip at this age. The age of 20 is a significant milestone for young drivers in terms of insurance costs. At this age, drivers have typically been on the road for a few years, and insurance companies begin to see them as more experienced and less risky. This is often reflected in a substantial decrease in their insurance rates. Finally, when a young driver turns 21, they've crossed a significant threshold. They're not only seen as adults by society, but also by insurance companies. This age typically marks the last major drop in insurance rates for young drivers. As you can see, age and experience play a significant role in the cost of car insurance. But age isn't the only factor that affects the cost of insurance for young drivers. Let's delve into the other elements that can influence the cost of car insurance for teenagers. These can range from the type of car they drive to their academic performance, and even the completion of a driver's education course. Firstly, the type of vehicle a young driver is behind the wheel of can have a significant impact on insurance costs. High-performance or luxury cars, for instance, tend to carry higher insurance premiums. This is because they're often more expensive to repair or replace, and statistically, they're more likely to be involved in accidents. On the other hand, a modest, safe, and reliable vehicle can lead to more affordable insurance rates. Secondly, the grades of a student can also play a role in determining car insurance costs. Many insurance companies offer what's called a good student discount. This is a reward for maintaining a certain grade point average, often a B average, or better. The logic behind this is simple. Students who are responsible in school are likely to be responsible on the road as well. So, hitting those books could mean more than just academic success. It could also mean a break on your car insurance. Lastly, whether or not a teenager has completed a driver's education course can also impact insurance costs. Many insurance companies view these courses as an indicator of a responsible and well-prepared driver. Therefore, completion of such a course could lead to a discount on insurance rates. However, it's important to keep in mind that these are just a few of the factors that can influence the cost of car insurance for young drivers. Other aspects such as the driver's location, gender, and driving record can also play a part. So, while young drivers do face higher insurance costs, there are ways to potentially lower these costs. It's all about understanding the factors at play and making informed decisions. After all, knowledge is the first step towards savings. Let's quickly recap what we've covered today. We dove into the world of car insurance, particularly focusing on the costs for teenagers and young drivers. As we discovered, the average rate can be quite steep for these younger demographics, especially for those under 21. We explored how these rates often decrease as a young driver ages, with each passing year potentially bringing a drop in insurance costs. However, it's important to note that these averages are not set in stone and can vary based on a number of factors. We also discussed the various elements that can influence these insurance costs. Factors such as the type of car, driving record, and even geographical location can play a significant role in determining the final insurance premium. So, while the cost of car insurance for young drivers is typically higher, don't forget there are steps you can take to manage these costs. Remember, knowledge is power, and understanding these factors can help you navigate the insurance landscape more effectively.